I want to introduce Matt Scuddery. Did I say it right?
Close enough.
Scuddery,
Scuderi.
Scuddery. Damn
Scuderi.
it! I knew I was going to mess that crap up.
That's okay.
Is,
I've been called worse.
is that an Italian name or what?
Yeah, it's from northern Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very common up there.
Okay.
That's where my mother's parents are from.
Yeah, yeah. I'm married to an Italian woman. You know, her main name is Favusa. So yeah. Try to say that when you first start dating. Oh God, she's gonna watch this live and kick my ass. Okay, everybody, I kind of switched up from what I put down what we were going to do tonight. So, we are going to go through the My Healthy Vet, but first I wanted to bring Matt on because Matt really touched me today when me and him were talking, and I wanted him to come on and talk about what he's going through. But Matt, go ahead and tell them what branch of the service you were in and the years and all about Desert Storm, the Gulf War.
Okay, so I joined the Marines in 1988, about a month after I graduated high school. Finished boot camp at the boot camp in Paris Island. Graduated in October, a couple days after my birthday, when I turned 18. Went to Camp Lejeune, trained to be a truck driver. After that, I went into the reserves. My original unit I was in was Headquarters 6th Motor Transport Battalion in Red Bank, New Jersey. December 1990, we got deployed. About 50 or 60 of us from our company got deployed. They sent us down to Camp Lejeune. We were there for a couple of days, where they vaccinated us quite a bit and prepared us for a deployment. And they sent us to Saudi Arabia, put us in 8th Motor Transport Battalion, and then we all got split up. I ended up in a unit called Combat Service Support Detachment 28. Was deployed, got home around May 1991. So, and then a couple of years later, I got out. That was it.
And that's where we're going to lead to this. But while you were in, and you
Yes.
were over there in Desert Storm, when did you start knowing that you were having issues?
Well, I would say, I didn't realize it at the time. We were a mobile unit, so we were constantly moving. And you had a lot of work to do. And you have an aim and you have goals and you have a purpose, and you just suck it up and you deal with it. When the oil fire started, that started to bother you a lot. Also, before that, a lot of guys got bumps all over their bathing suit area.
Their
You know what I'm saying?
Their butt talks.
Yeah. Which I didn't have that, but so many guys had that. It was so bizarre. But there's so much going on. But the oil fields, that really got to you. The burn pits and the oil fields, because you're just choking on that stuff all day long. And it's all over you. You got oil all over you and everything. But like I said earlier today when we were talking, when the war was over, you just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
That's it. You just wanted to get out of there. Then when you get home, you're excited, you're happy. I went to my girl's prom, made it just at home in time for that. You can't spend money on deployments. So you got a big wad of cash in your pocket.
Right.
You're partying, you're having a good time, and that kind of wears off. And then that's when it really hit. Right off the bat, it was irritable bowels right off the bat. Fatigue right off the bat. Muscle pain, joint pain right away. I mean, before the summer was over, it started bothering me. So really, right. That's when it bothered me right away. And you're in the reserves, and we had a corpsman, full-time corpsman, active duty corpsman there. And you go to them with your problems, and they're like, well, not wrong with you. It's all in your head. You're malingering. And, there's no record of this. It's not like I went there. Lance Corporal so-and-so went there and complained about this. It's just you go there and it says, oh, you're malingering. Get out of here before I report you. I ended up getting a job. I had health insurance. I went to a private doctor. It was in the news a lot right away. And he's saying, oh, it's nothing. It's all in your head. Don't worry about it. So I kind of lived with it until a couple of years ago. And what's happened is it progressively got worse as you get older.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, a friend of mine gave me some help. He's like, this is what you got to do. I went, I got the VA healthcare plan. I went to the therapist he recommended. He diagnosed me with PTSD. I applied for my benefits with the help of someone from the American Legion, and they gave me 70%. But it has nothing to do with Gulf War illness, which I know I have. And I know I've had this for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you kind of, you're like at this wit, you don't know what to do. I mean, it's such a massive, inefficient bureaucracy. It's so complicated. It's so difficult to navigate. The doctors have no training. I think 10% of the doctors have training as to what Gulf War illness is. So when you go to your doctor, chances are they're not going to know anything about it. So this is where I stand now. I have chronic fatigue, chronic joint pain, chronic muscle pain, irritable bowel, short-term memory loss, and of course, I'm easily agitated, as anybody would be if they had all those problems.
Right.
So that's where I stand today. It progressively gets worse. Now, the real issue that I have with this is when you have these issues, it's really, really hard to hold a job.
Yeah.
Everybody out there that's listening, you know what it's like to go to work tired.
Mm-hmm.
We do that every day. You know what it's like to have pain. We do that every day. And when you go to work and you have a short-term memory issue, you have irritable bowels, you're in and out of the bathroom. Hey, what are you doing in the bathroom? Your muscles and your joints are constantly hurting. You're just not going to perform as well as you should. It's going to make it very, very difficult to establish yourself in any type of career and hold a job. It's very seriously debilitating. And what makes it worse is the fact that there's very little done about this. I got this interesting fact here. About 250,000 of us have this issue.
Yeah, I think that's probably a low estimate too. It's really hard to put on that game face, isn't it, Matt?
Tiny.
I think that is a low estimate. Now we have to understand something here. That's officially.
Right.
I go to the VA because I don't have health insurance through work. Okay? If I had health insurance through work, I'd probably use that. Only half the veterans in this country are using the VA healthcare system. That's 9 million out of 18 million veterans.
And that's why we started the outreach program.
Yeah. I honestly think I ran into somebody today. They were talking about his uncle with the Camp Lejeune issue. It was there in the 60s.
Mm.
I says, whatever you do, go to the hospital and with your DD-214 and whatnot, and get into the system.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll help us. But there's 250,000 of us officially with Gulf War illness. We're talking 30%.
Right. But let's explain to everybody what Gulf War illness is. Gulf War illness is they don't have a damn clue what it is.
That's the best, Kevin. That's the best definition of what Gulf War illness is.
Exactly. There's no cure, nothing.
Yeah, it's complicated. I mean, we're the most complicated thing in the world. It's the human body. Not to mention the fact that there are so many different issues, right? So really, it's almost everybody's chronic fatigue, irritable bowels, short-term memory, joint pain, muscle pain. That's almost everybody. Then there's other issues that a lot of people have skin problems.
Yeah.
We're starting to get cancer.
Yeah. Well, of everything, I mean, it's all horrible, but that big C word is something that I don't know why that scares me more than the other. Maybe because more of it's more of a defining answer.
And a hard topic is for guys is, men are having problems downstairs with burning semen, not being able to, I can't say everything I want to say because YouTube will, kick me off, or TikTok or any of them. But this is what we're all here for.
Yeah.
Not just me and John. I'm talking about you too, Matt. I'm talking about every listener out there that listens to the program. Is we have to help each other navigate. And one of the best ways of navigating is with each other. And so when I go to the VA, let's all just take me yesterday. Kevin goes to the VA yesterday. I see my primary care. I tell my primary care, well, guess what, doc? I went to my neurologist and she said, well, I don't know anything about the Gulf War. So I told her, I said, well, what am I supposed to tell my neurologist? And my primary care says, ask for a different doctor. And so, which I did. She goes, and do it politely. She said, because they don't train these doctors. They're nurse practitioners. That's what everybody needs to understand, that are still in school. So your specialist y'all go see, there's probably 20 of these nurse practitioners, one main doctor. When you go into that doctor for a specialist, that nurse practitioner goes over everything you got. Then what she does is, or he goes out, talks to them, and they all look at it and go, yes, we agree this is the best diagnosis. That's not the way it should work. The way it should work is they come in and say, okay, he was in the Gulf War. We know he was exposed to sarin gas. We know he was exposed to mustard gas, the anthrax shot, P-tabs, and whatever the hell else they gave us out there.
Depleted uranium.
Yeah. So let's
burn
go.
Pits, oil fires. Yeah.
So let's go to what the researchers have done. Even though they're from universities, a lot of them are paid by the VA, the veterans, or the government. And let's go with what their recommendations are. But they don't. They blacklist them.
Well, they don't. We'll save the marijuana thing for later. The recent study from University of California, San Diego, of how CoQ10, which is a supplement, could help you. I've tried it. I'll try anything. I've had great success with it. It hasn't cured it. We don't have a cure for it. It does help you get by a little better. But the VA won't prescribe this to you.
I'm not sure. I honestly, I'm not sure what, and I'm sure probably Sarah or maybe Wade or somebody has mentioned this. I'm just kind of out of touch with that sort of thing.
Okay.
Meaning, I've tried lots of things and I've probably heard that, but help me understand what that is again.
Okay, CoQ10 it's produced inside your cells in your body. Okay. And it gives your cells energy. So what happens when you take CoQ10 as a supplement? It gives your body more CoQ10, which gives your cells more energy. And it's supposed to help increase your quality of life if you have Gulf War illness.
Maybe that's what's in
success with it.
Maybe that's what's in the stuff that I've already tried.
But
the and I can't spit out the pill or this thing that Wade put me on to.
Yeah.
NT factor.
Yeah, NT factor.
Oh, was
Maybe
this the
that's-
doctor that you had on?
Yeah, yeah.
Where he has his own
Dr.
supplement
Nicholson,
thing?
yeah.
Okay. I'm sure it has CoQ10 in it.
Okay.
But
I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah.
but a lot of guys, and I'm trying to put this as politely as I can. A lot of guys don't like talking about their feelings. So they revert back to one or two things. They revert back to shutting themselves down or going into alcohol.
Yeah, we
Oh.
talked about that today. Yeah, well, I mean, how many veterans self-medicate themselves with alcohol?
Right. A lot.
Look, I don't care what you have. If you're sick, alcohol will make it worse. It's PTSD. It's Gulf War illness. I mean, if you had a cold, you wouldn't whack down half a bottle of hooch, would you? You know, it's not good for you.
Well,
You can't medicate yourself with alcohol.
Right.
But we do. And I think the reason why is, first of all, it's legal. And we don't know any other way.
But one of the things, Matt, that you've said that I've said a couple of times on the show for me, and I'm sure we've had other guests say it, and you just laid it out again, what we've dealt with since the Gulf War, and again, I think I say it at least probably once every podcast or so, is that all of our bodies are different, but a lot of us feel it right away, or a lot of us feel something, and it just gets progressively worse, very painfully, slowly worse, to the point where, you know, we have people, what's the matter? You feeling okay? And you get asked that question a lot. Maybe it's from a friend, your girlfriend, wife, spouse, whoever it is. How you feeling? What's going on? What's the matter? And you almost get annoyed by answering the same question. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I'm glad you said that.
You know,
John, I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to say his name. He'll probably shoot me later. But my best friend growing up, and my best friend, his name is Todd Northcutt. He called me today, and he was like, because I did a little commercial about tonight, what's going on. And it's about veterans feeling left behind, feeling lonely because they don't know what they're doing. And he said, man, he goes, that resonates with so many people, because a lot of people don't know how to help a veteran, how to go about talking to a veteran about what they're going through. Yeah. And which makes perfect, great sense, because I mean, like my wife does, and I was like, man, my heel is burning, it hurts. And if your feet feel like this all the time, I just don't understand it. So the best thing I can tell people is, when you know somebody, even if Afghanistan, even in Iraq, it don't matter. Even though we fought different wars, we're going through the same thing. There's no cure for what we went through. I mean, look at Korean War, Vietnam, us. There is no cure for what any of us have. But there is one thing. We got our family, our friends, God, and us. Yeah. And that's why I'm going to bring this up. John runs the outreach program, the Veterans Outreach Program. And we want everybody from everywhere to be able to come on there and talk about how they can help every veteran out there find their ways to what doctors. I talked to one lady this past weekend, 2 hours on the phone, guys, 2 hours. And let me tell you what she told me. In Washington State, she feels like they're trying to kill the vets. She's not the only one who has hit that. Go on to all the Go 4 pages. A lot of them guys say that. So she's going to move. She took a recommendation and she goes, where would you recommend? I said Iowa or Texas or Florida. You got to find... picking up your family moving is not the answer for a lot of people. Single people, if you can do it, by golly, do it. But for veterans out there like myself, I can't pick up and move. John, he can't pick up and move. Matt, I'm sure you can't pick up and move.
Actually, I can't. Yeah. So,
He's over there going, and I'm damn near thinking about coming to Texas because it's warmer there.
I just need a place that'll accept my dog. That's all.
Yeah. Hey, but the thing about it is where you're at. How is your VA system there?
I can't compare it to anything else.
You know,
I ask the people that I talk to all the time, what is wrong? Everybody, why? What is wrong? And I say to them, I know it's not. It's the person who called me today to schedule an appointment. I said to her, look, I know it's not your fault. I'm not angry at you. But what is wrong there? And they almost always say we're overwhelmed with work. That's number one. Number two is I think even though we've thrown billions of dollars at the VA, I think they're very far behind in technology. Office technology that'll make things more efficient. I think that's part of the problem. And I think you're going to have that problem whether you're in New Jersey, Iowa, Washington, or Texas, anywhere. I think it's really most of our government.
Yeah.
Kevin, if we could go back a little bit, you were talking, like people don't understand this, Most people, when you say the Gulf War, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, they forgot about it.
Oh, yeah.
If you're limping or you're on crutches or something and somebody says, hey, Kevin, what's wrong? Oh, I tore my ACL. Got a hamstring problem, something like that. We understand that. When you see somebody struggling to get up, struggling to get to work, in pain, and they say, hey, what's wrong? I got Gulf War illness. They have no idea what you're talking about. What was the Gulf War? What is Gulf War illness? So I think there's a lot of people that don't understand that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that can make decisions, and whether they're in the VA, they're in Congress, or whatever, they also don't understand this. So it's not just the common person, it's the people at the VA, and it's the people in our government, the people in Congress, and on these various committees in the House and the Senate that deal with this stuff. They don't even know what
it is. It's definitely, when you bring up the subject matter, a lot of the time you get the deer in the headlight look, or and then I know for myself, if I go into an explanation, anybody that knows me, I can, depending on the subject matter, I can be a little long-winded, but it's not a short conversation.
No,
it's not. And Kevin mentioned that I'm running the Veterans Outreach Program, which is for myself trying to decide what information is going to benefit, the simplistic information that's going to benefit the veteran who's trying to get answers. And one of the very basic, and you and I talked a little bit before we came on air, Matt, was that particular webpage, My Healthy Vet. And that is key, really crucial, key bit of information to know how to utilize it to get quick responses. And I'll go into that. That's that's a long subject matter in its own right. But the whole Gulf War is not an easy thing to bring up. And I mean, you're going to get the tilted head and the question, well, tell me about it. And you're like, well,
shit, I tell them, I don't give 2 flying shits. I tell them all about it.
Well, in August of 1990, Saddam Hussein made it great. It's like you're a history professor here.
Right.
Yeah. But, so that is part of the issue. I mean, some things are obvious. It's obvious, when you look at an X-ray and someone's bone is like that. It's obvious,
right?
But you can't just take a little bit of blood, put it under a microscope, and say, that guy's got Gulf War illness.
Right.
Yeah, because it's an unexplained illness. That's what Gulf War illness is. It's unexplained.
Now,
go ahead.
The Vietnam vets, they had cancer from Agent Orange, right? So cancer you can understand. But I think they had a similar issue in the 70s and 80s where it's like, oh, he's a Vietnam vet, he got cancer. It's like, well, everybody gets cancer, you know? And then they kind of linked it to the Agent Orange, and now people understand it. I only hope that someday that it's common knowledge that Gulf War illness exists and it's a problem that needs to be fixed.
Right, right. And,
the more we talk about it, the better.
Yeah, that's right. And the more we bring it to the forefront, and it needs to be brought to the forefront, not just for us, but our children and our children's children. We don't want them poisoning our kids anymore. We don't want them poisoning anybody in the military anymore. They knew about it in 1995. Shit, they knew about the day we were there because I got the audio tapes that I'm going to be releasing pretty soon. And a lot of people probably won't like it in the government, but I actually have top ranking officials that literally say we're being sprayed by sarin gas.
Yeah, well, look, they sprayed the desert with pesticides.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe. Now, go to the supermarket, go to the hardware store, and look at those chemicals they have that kill the bugs in your house, the foggers. And look what the antidote is if you inhale that stuff. It's the exact same antidote that we carried with us in our gas mask back.
Yeah.
Oh, the
or gas attack.
Wow.
So there is nerve agent is used in these pesticides that we have in our supermarket and our hardware stores right now. And they sprayed that stuff all over the desert. All over the desert. I mean, it was like a crop dusters going on.
And
we also know that
so
Saddam Hussein did have chemical weapons.
Oh yeah.
And then we gave them to him.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you.
You know? And what happens when you bomb a storage facility, a storage bunker, a factory that makes this stuff is you just throw it up in the air.
And it gets caught up in the wind. It gets caught up in the oil rig fires. It gets caught up. We know that Saddam has sarin gas spraying on top of us and mustard gas.
Yep, it gets in the dust storm, the sandstorms.
So you know, I was talking to. Today was probably one of the busiest days I've ever talked to vets, and one of the vets is like, you know, is there any numbers out there that you could give me that could help as far as calling the VA and getting questions, because I can't figure out my health care or nothing. And I was like, yeah. I was like, everybody should know them. I mean, the My Healthy Vet is 1-877-327-0022. I said, just call them, talk to them, have them navigate you through it, because that's where you get your prescriptions filled. That's where you. I should have brought a Band-Aid, John. I would have. This is where they put the Band-Aid on the head and tell you to go on. That's what they do, in my eyes, because that's all they can do if they don't understand what we're doing.
Right.
But if you just want to ask questions, benefits and stuff, I mean, 1-800-827-1000. Of course, everybody should know this, the crisis line. 1-800-273-8255. Or come talk to one of us.
Any of the numbers,
Or come talk to one of us. You can
call pretty much any VA number.
Yeah, you call me.
Yeah.
Everybody. And I have no problem if somebody's like, man, I really need to talk. Because the crisis line isn't going to know what Matt is going through like Kevin knows what Matt's going through and John knows what Matt's going through. Does that make sense? We know more than the crisis line when it comes to Gulf War illness because we live with it.
Yeah.
And
look, we know more than most doctors do.
Oh yeah, you're damn right. I know. I could walk in there and go, no. This is what I got. You know, give me that shot on this arm, this side. But for everybody who is sitting out there that's listening that has never been in the service and wondering what they can do, if you see a veteran, tell them to go to our outreach program on Facebook. Tell them to go to YouTube and put in Go For Side Effects. Let's start letting people watch the videos and hear out of our mouths and other people's mouths what is really going on.
Mhm.
And I mean, Matt, you were telling me about another page that you like earlier that you go on as far as navigating for instead of My Healthy Vet. What was that other one?
Oh, I don't know. You go va.org and you log on and there's a list of things.
Right.
My Healthy Vet and other things. But
Right.
I only log on there to see what the hell's taking my appeal so long.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
but everybody, I mean, that's why me and John were talking, and October 11th to November 11th should be Help a Vet Day. Every day should be it should be every day at night 365. But primarily, grab, if you see older gentleman wearing a Korean War,
Oh, yeah.
walk up and ask them, do you know what your benefits are? Do you
Yeah,
know elderly care, all that stuff?
Like John's neighbor.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how what is he, John? 89?
he's 89 years old, and I'm having to. He asked me today. I went over to talk to him, and he says, "Well, how do I get my medications refilled?" And I told him, I said, "I'll get you on a web page," which he probably doesn't even know. I said, "I'll take care of it. I just have to." So it's been a spell since I've actually done that. So I'll have to go from ground zero and get him onto My Healthy Vet, so you can get mailed the prescriptions. That particular website is where one needs to go to get a response in a timely manner. You can pick up the phone call and call these numbers, yes, but everybody that's done it knows it takes a spell to get a warm body on the phone to talk with.
Yeah, those guys, like we said, John, they don't know how to use the computers.
Right.
They don't know the internet. So those are the guys from Vietnam, and the thing is, it's. I mean, I think we could all agree it's a very complicated system. It's hard to navigate through.
Yes.
So if somebody knows and they understand the system, you could be very, very helpful to people. Because a lot of times people just need that little start.
Yeah.
Get a little head start.
I know that system by heart.
Yeah, because it is pretty difficult to navigate through.
Right. And that's just it. If any veteran out there, I mean, even Afghanistan vets, I mean, from any veteran, any damn veteran.
Yeah.
If y'all need help navigating through the VA, just get a hold of me. Call me up and say, okay, hey, what are my presumptives for this? Or, hey, I need health care. I don't know how to do this stuff. Or I need an ID card. I can literally guide you and help you through that. And if I don't know it, I swear to you, I know a lot of people who do. Me and John, we have met in this journey. This is a journey for me. I do believe that this is a journey God put me on. And my journey is to help veterans, start connecting with them and help them. Not just go for veterans, all of them.
Yeah.
And I believe that that's what we should all be here, helping one another. I mean, I don't know what it was, Matt, but when I talked to you, it like touched me. I don't know what it was. Yeah. It was like, I feel lost some days.
Yeah.
Just some days? Hell, I feel lost every day.
I'm not talking about walking around the block, John, and get lost. I'm talking about even mentally. Some days I do feel lost. I do, and it like an empty feeling. Like why did this have to happen to me? Why did this happen to any of us? How can we fix it?
You think about this. That was a short. I think most of us were probably deployed for about 6 months. You just think about it. If you were born a year later or a year earlier, you probably would have missed it.
Yeah.
If you would have said, let me take a year off from high school, see what's out there, try to find myself, and then what? We probably would have missed it.
But the funny thing is, though, Matt, I wanted to trade what I experienced for the world.
Yeah.
That's the weird part. The
Yeah.
weird part to me is I served this country. I served it proudly. I would do it again in a heartbeat, even with my feet messed up, even knowing what I know now. But the one thing I would do is I would just spread the word a whole lot faster
Yeah.
if I would have known about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really, and doing what you're doing is great. We really need to spread the word because people don't know and don't understand.
Right. I mean, like, a support group, man. I mean,
Yeah.
people need a support group out there. Veterans do, and families of veterans
Yeah.
need that support group. And
It,
John, you look really weird without your damn glasses on top of
Well,
your head. Put that
I
shit
got
back on. Put that shit back on. I just looked. I saw a glare. I was
funny.
like, "Holy cow!" I just lost train of thought right there. Okay.
well, Kevin, what we talked about earlier today is, it's tough to hold a job if you have these problems.
It is.
And it's tough to have a relationship if you have these problems. I often say to people that, because a lot of us, unfortunately, know alcoholics or drug addicts or whatever. And I often say to people that living with somebody with PTSD is very hard.
Yes.
I mean, the husbands and wives of these Americans and the mothers and fathers of these young kids that come home with this problem, they have it just as bad. It's living with somebody. It's hard. It's hard.
Right. Right.
It is hard.
And that's the other thing is, it is because I know spouses of Desert Storm vets that I've talked to, and they say it's hard. I love all of them dearly because what they're dealing with, I couldn't imagine. What we're dealing with is hard. Try to be a spouse. Try to be a child. Try to be a friend.
Yeah.
Try to be any of that with somebody with PTSD or go for illness or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You want to help them, you don't know how. But that's what we want to help them with. Let's talk them off of the ledge, bring them back, get them into a better reality of what they're living in. That's what we need to do as veterans. And
one of the biggest
friends.
One of the biggest things about the phone numbers when you call, if they say call the crisis line, well, in my opinion, one of the biggest crisis line is that fellow vet, not somebody on. I mean, call a fellow vet.
Yeah.
That is what's going to help. That is what helped me. I just recently I was talking to some people that would help putting in a ramp for my next door neighbor who's a vet. The gentleman happened to be an Air Force guy, or he was in the Air Force. And then I went out to dinner with a friend of my brother's who I introduced to, and I knew he was a Gulf War vet. We didn't talk a lot, but we talked a little bit, kind of explained a few things. He happened to be, he was an officer who was a combat engineer like myself, so small world. And I'm like, huh. So, I mean, we were at a dinner. I talked a little bit more about it. Yeah, it's talk to fellow vets. That's what I think helps me out the most is talking to fellow vets.
Yeah, because
fellow vets who understand.
yeah, because John, he wouldn't even come on my program for a while, but now he did. I made him my damn co-host. But I do want to, behind me back here, y'all see my mom made me this. It's awesome. It's my own personal Afghan. But behind here, I do want to put up all the numbers and everything and kind of have a chalkboard behind me when we start talking and we can jot stuff down and let people start seeing it. I do want to do that. I think that's a good idea to help guide veterans to where they need to start going.
That's an Afghan that your mom made?
My mom made that.
Oh, interesting. Because see, now when I saw that Navy uniform and the way I was like, I didn't realize it was an Afghan. I thought it was individual things. Your mom did a phenomenal job on that.
I'm gonna tell you said that. Okay.
No, it looks really
But
good.
I do want to read something that somebody posted over here on TikTok where he says, "My family thinks I'm nuts." That's what a lot of vets are going through right now. A lot of their families think they're crazy, like they don't believe them. You're not nuts. You're not. And I mean, reach out to me. That's what I want. I want you to reach out to me. Send me a message later. But anybody, reach out to John. Hell, reach out to Matt. I'm sure Matt will want to reach out and talk to people. The more we engage in the topic, the better off we're going to be. I do believe that. But John, I'm going to leave you with the last, well, not one of the last words. I'm getting the damn last word, John. I always get the damn last word, John.
Well, no, I appreciate Matt coming on, and Matt made a comment pretty early on that things progress slowly. Now, whether you're a Gulf War veteran, a veteran period, I mean, we want to help everybody. We happen to be Gulf War veterans, but the Iraq, the Afghanistan, everybody, if you don't necessarily aren't having issues now, the likelihood is probably higher than not that you have issues that you can't put the two and two together.
Right.
And that's where we can help one another with.
Yeah. Or maybe they're minor.
Right.
Minor issues. But they're just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse as time goes on.
And Matt, you got anything you would like to add?
No, we appreciate everything you do. We thank you for that. Thank you for having me on. So, I mean, I always try to reach out. New Jersey is not much of a big veteran state. So, but you don't have to live near me. I can help anybody out. Anybody needs a hand with anything, they could please contact me on Facebook. Maybe we'll put my Facebook page or my whatever on underneath that. However you do it on YouTube and whatnot, so people can reach me.
I love that, man. How the hell y'all do this shit?
That's what I have nieces and nephews for.
I don't
know this crap.
That's why I have a young producer to help me out, because my ass wouldn't know anything about it. I'd be like, "What the hell does that button do?" But
it must have been about 4 or 5 years ago. Somebody's sitting there with their camera. I'm like, "What are you doing with that?" Not their camera, their cell phone. What are you doing? I'm taking a picture. I says, "You can't take a picture with a cell phone."
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, you can. So I'm kind of behind in the technology.
But I want to leave everybody with this thought before we leave. Take time out and reach out to another vet, man. You see him walking down the street every day.
Yeah.
Open up a door.
Yeah. I'll tell you something that happened that's very, very helpful. There's probably about a dozen of us that have kept in touch over the years.
Yeah.
And we meet about 3 or 4 times a year. And I'll tell you that is great.
Reunions, that's what we do.
Go together, have lunch, just hang out,
in your community.
Sit in the backyard with a little campfire going, whatever,
But
great stuff.
I'm asking each and every one of y'all, go to the Facebook page of the Veteran Outreach Program. Like it and share it. Let's start connecting with each veteran out there. And I want to wish everybody good night, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to Go For Side Effects. If you have any stories you would like to share, or just have any comments or questions, please email me at kevinsimon@goforsideeffects.com. Just to let all of our listeners know, we have opened an online store. All proceeds will go to helping veterans connect The link will be in the description below.